Welcome to the Dialed In Podcast. I'm your host, the official CRG, and today is our last episode for our three-part series on cannabis. First, we'll quickly go over the past two episodes and then dive right into why I believe cannabis should be federally legal. So first, I quickly have to say thank you to everybody who tuned in for this, quick three-part series on cannabis. It has genuinely been fun to research and record this little series, and I hope I taught you guys a little something, or even answered some questions you guys had on cannabis. But to start off, let's talk about episode 8, part 1. In part 1, we talked about the cannabis plant itself and the difference between the male and female plants, plus what THC and CBD are and how it's produced. Next, in episode 9, part 2, we talked about 5 different forms of cannabis and how they positive and negatively affect our bodies, plus how each form is produced. We also covered the 3 main types of cannabis and how to tell the difference between each plant. Now that we have that covered, we can talk about why we're here today and why I believe cannabis should be federally legal. I believe cannabis should be federally legal for multiple reasons, but the main reason is for the study and research alone. As of right now, most cannabis facilities are made by legal states with little tech and help or self-funded companies with the same problems. So with having cannabis be federally legal, that forces the government to get behind these facilities and grow houses and invest in them and their studies, which would benefit the public and the people, because the whole government's job is to benefit the public and the people. But the problem now is that most politicians are very, strict and against cannabis, it's stopping anyone or any company to majorly fund a grow house or organization for further studies. So like I said before, having that be federally legal, that forces the government to get behind it, that forces them to invest money and put time into cannabis to, then allow these organizations to further study and eventually learn more about the plant and what it can do. Another major reason I believe it should be federally legal, like I said, is for the research alone on cannabis. Till this day, we still don't know what cannabis will affect or do to us from like 10 to 20 years from now, plus what health conditions it could bring or even solve. Having it be legal, it could change all of that from, learning health benefits to the plant itself, and it could just bring a whole new outlook to cannabis. Another reason I believe it should be federally legal is that it would help lessen laced deaths. Till this day, nobody has died from straight cannabis use, but hundreds of people have died from laced cannabis. Most cannabis comes in bud form, which makes it very easy to spray or mix with other drugs like PCP or methamphetamines. So making cannabis legal allows safe cannabis to flow around and be consumed without the risk of anything being laced. The only problem is, when it comes to having it be legal, I do believe there will be a slight increase when it comes to dealers and maybe crime, and that would just be a short period of time, but I believe that will be because of dispensary taxes. There will be so much weed now and so many growers that the sale of marijuana will go up, which will cause dealers to, want to sell because nobody wants to get taxed when your friend or, somebody you can get it for the low. But eventually that will go down because if the government invests in cannabis, there will be, stores on every corner. There will be dispensaries. It will be easy access. So eventually there won't be as many people going to dealers and there won't be as many crime when it comes to marijuana. People will get out of jail. There's thousands and thousands of individuals in jail right now, specifically African American individuals for very slight weed crimes. And it's unacceptable. The fact that weed right now is legal in most places and that they're still held in jail, it's unacceptable. So making it legal, would completely get everybody out for the small crime of either possession or anything of marijuana. Because right now, I have, my medical card and I'm smoking weed, where there's somebody in jail right now that was smoking weed, 5 years ago, but now it's doing it 15 years. It just doesn't make any sense. So, having it be legal, it would get rid of all of this. I would see a massive change, I believe, in just major health benefits and even well-being in people. I mean, marijuana tends to help a lot of people with depression and anxiety. Now, making it legal, that's not saying here everybody go smoke marijuana. Marijuana isn't for everybody. It's not here to say, all right, here, now it's legal. Every single person has to smoke marijuana. Everybody has to feel that high. That's not it at all. But giving it an option, giving people an option is what we need, because right now in the world we live, we don't really have as many options as we should. Um, I will say for me personally, I suffer with severe depression, anxiety, and a complex PTSD, and cannabis has literally changed my life for the better. I do smoke marijuana every day and I benefit from it. Like I said, it's changed my life. It's helped me talk more. It's helped me make new friends. It's helped me come up with new ideas. I have been smoking marijuana for probably about 9 years now, so I know it works for me in my conditions, but everybody's different. So, like, for instance, edibles, like, I'll eat edibles and they'll sometimes work for me, but they barely do. Like, I'll never really feel that type of head high. I'll only feel a body high. But when it comes to bud, I'll feel that whole body high. I'll feel the body and the head. So, it's just different parts of the plant. At the end of the day, it's all the same plant, but the different parts really play a big role in your conditions and what works for you. So, if you are a new listener and this is, the episode you're tuning into and you're not too sure what cannabis is, I highly suggest go listening to episode 1. So that's episode 8, part 1, and episode 9, part 2. We covered that a little bit here in the beginning. Part 2 is really going to just talk about the different forms of cannabis, the positive and negative effects, and just different things along that. Part 1's covering what cannabis is, just by itself. So, with all that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed this 3-part series on cannabis. Remember, this is all my personal research and opinions. There's always more to learn. So please, if you have any more questions or anything, just reach out to one of our socials and I'll be happy to try and answer anything the best I can. Today's quote is by 365 Mentality. You can follow them on Instagram. It says, "When people do too much for other people, they start to love your hand instead of appreciating your heart." That alone is a very strong quote. I'll let you guys, dissect that and take that kind of how you want. If, like I said, anything, if you guys want another series, I just did a poll actually for psychedelics, and we are going to do another 3-part series, and this time will be on psychedelics. It might not be next week, it might not be the week after, but I will make it happen. So with all that being said, if you guys have any more suggestions, any ideas, anything you want to hear or see, go hit the socials. You can find us on YouTube, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts. And with that being said, this is the Dialed In Podcast.